Oh, I don't care. Yeah.
Who did a great job on something that I gave my sister and brother. It's a portrait of them, a photo I took of them, and I have it framed. And
No, I like that. I love that tree. Yeah. It's different.
Yeah, I think so.
We are delighted to have you, Kathleen, as our guest, and we know that you felt honored to judge our show.
Yes,
We're very happy about that. You also spent time and effort examining all the paintings and gave serious thought in making all of your selections. So we thank you for that, and we welcome you. Thank you, Kathleen.
Thank you so much. It's an
Pleasure.
honor, truly. Are you going to speak next?
I'll introduce Martha Klein,
Okay.
our ex-president, who will give out the awards today.
There are many X's.
Can I ask you a question? Do you know when the next show is going to be?
It's this summer.
It's at the Manhasset Library? Are you sure? Okay.
I'll check.
Oh, we'll let you know, everybody.
Okay. So, would you like me to give you the award and you'll discuss the painting? I'll tell you who it is, okay? It's Constance Blackman, who is not here. Is anybody representing her?
I'll represent her.
All right.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
She's a good guy. And that's this one, the double portrait.
Right.
At first, very first, I want to thank the gallery and Gala for, putting the paintings, and being an artist myself, the importance of having a good framer. I can't begin to say how important that is. So we want to thank Gala, and she's a member too. And my understanding is that if you have your pieces framed here, there's a discount. Yes?
Yeah, a 10% discount.
A 10%. Okay. Yeah, for you guys. So thank you so much. It's a very important thing to have a good relationship with a good framer, matter, because that can make the difference between all of your hard work looking really good and professional or not. So thank you, Gala. Now, to talk about the honorable, it is truly wonderful, and as a judge, it's very interesting to me to see how all of these pieces are put together. And looking at all the portraits from a photograph and sort of cropped like a photograph, both figures are looking at us like it was a photograph. The detail in the foreground is stronger than the background, like a photograph, next to some of the other pieces that are so unlike a photograph. But when I looked at this, especially as I compare different ones, the reason I picked this is a few different things. If you heard that expression, you heard me at hello, or you had me at hello. It's from a Tom Cruise movie like many, many moons ago. Certain things, certain gestures speak to each person. This arm, to me, being a painter and a sculptor, I love the way that you can see the bone and the flesh and some of these curves here. The fleshiness of this, I don't even know what you call this part of our hand, but this, I thought that was beautiful. I liked the fingers. My favorite part of this piece is the little bit of light next to the green of the shirt. And one of those details, something like that, to me is like life. And if you're an artist and you're always looking like an artist, you can see bizarre little moments of exquisite beauty that, like, my husband does not see. He listens to me like, what? Like, I'll tell him, slow down when we're driving, because one person coming in one direction with yellow and orange and green pattern will be almost about to cross somebody that's wearing a completely different color and patterns. And to me, those intersections are exquisite. So I picked this painting partially for these beautiful moments that remind me so much of the beautiful things in life, and that in the portrait, even though it has the sense of a photograph, it's so friendly, it's so open, it's so warm, it's so welcoming. And many times when you do a portrait, like another one that I picked, that this fellow isn't looking directly at you, and this other one that I picked is not looking directly at you, but they're looking right at me and saying, come on in, and that's why I picked it. And unfortunately, that artist is not here to hear it, but that's okay.
Honorable mention is Marianne Halpern, and she's right over here. Congratulations.
Okay. Congratulations. Okay, are you going to come with me to the end? Okay. This group of palm trees. A lot of times when you have like city architecture and people, there isn't a lot of focus on things other than the buildings and the people. And this one, for the architecture, seems solid and believable. There's curves that bring you in. When I judge a show, I look at the pieces. I also take a photograph of it, because sometimes the lighting, the ambient lighting, is a little bit distracting, especially if there's a glass. But in a photograph, you can see how strong this is, how solid this base is, and this little bit of color right here that helps to really pull life into the figures. The figures have a beautiful gesture. There is just a magnificent quality about it, and as every judge gets their chance to pick and then suffer, and then pick and then suffer, and then, but I'm glad that you were here. I'm very happy about the ones that I picked, even though I had to suffer, you know? And I love it, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Everybody's pieces were beautiful, and I did want to say that no matter whether your piece gets picked or not, sometimes it's the luck of the draw and the way the show is laid out. But exhibit as much as you can, because it's such a tremendous feeling when your piece gets picked.
Yes, it is.
And I want to talk about this one now. The reason that I picked it is that it's beautiful, it's timeless, it's classic, and it grabs your interest right away. But there are technical things about it that I thought were truly stunning. The soft smudginess of his cap, the detail and the rhythms of this plaid shirt, that detail here really helps to make the activity of the beard and the, you know, the chubbiness of his face as he's smiling pull together. So there's a lot of rhythms to it that I really liked. And it was beautiful up close, and it's beautiful from across the room. So, I'm like, oh my God.
Beautiful.
Thank you very much.
To me, is a landscape of happiness. I do a lot of landscapes myself, but very, very big. And when I look at other people's landscapes, it's always joy to me, because whether my landscape is huge and vast or smaller and tighter, to me, that's how I express my soul. I'm a country girl. Although I'm living in Long Island now, I was born and raised in a pretty rural place. So my first memories of landscape, like at almost 3 years old, my parents had a stunning view, and I got some colored pencils and some paper. So that was my first, like, it's okay to see and love what you see and express it. So when I saw this, I loved the brushwork. I loved that it was simple, it was happy, and that these beautiful moments here, this little piece could be a painting all on its own, and just how beautiful and soft it is, and the brushwork and the happiness. And I don't remember whether it was, I don't know, it was a famous French artist. I don't know, I don't think it was Van Gogh, but somebody was saying that maybe Pizarro, he said, you go to the art store and you try to buy green, and it's never the right green. Well, green is my favorite color. And when I see a painting that has a lot of greens, and I like all those greens, it's like, it just melts me. So thank you so much, and it's really, really beautiful. You could do an absolutely technically perfect piece of artwork, but it may not have like a lasting, strong impression that makes you come back and come back and come back and look and come back. Well, this painting has that look and come back and look and come back and walk away, and I really liked it in person and in the photograph. I loved the composition, and I have to tell you, one of my favorite people on this entire planet was my dad. And he used to have all these crazy sayings, like, there's only 100 faces in the world. And largely, that's pretty true. And when I looked at it, I'm like, oh my gosh, that looks like my sister. And that feeling of there's only 100 faces in the world, to me, this painting embodies that. She could be your next door neighbor. She could be you at a different age. She's definitely my sister. And I loved the strength of the lines, the angles of this blouse, the halter or whatever it is, and the soft fleshiness of the figure itself. I like the texture. I like to work with a palette knife sometimes. I thought it was very interesting that she is nestled in these dark, almost muddy areas, but it lets her sing. And as bright as this yellow is, it does not overpower the figure itself. So it was beautiful. I love the way the hand pushes the eye up. There's a quality about it that is really beautiful. And as a decorative painter, colors like this, where, like for me personally, when I have to work, I have to marry a lot of different colors together. And this, the way there's little bits of rhythms, there's all little pieces of color, that's like, to me, a visual buffet. So,
Wow. That's
congratulations. You've heard me say like 20 times already, I'm largely a landscape painter, with the murals, the grisaille, all that. So this, to me, it looked like Cézanne. And I love the colors. I love how the whole thing is very unified. Like the surface is unified. The thought process is unified. It's a little abstract. It's still a landscape. It has delightful rhythms and lights and darks. I love how it's matted, and I just want to say, when you have a good relationship with a frame or a matter, they can help make something like this come true. Many decades ago, I thought, if I just bought one of those, tried it, holy cannoli.
It didn't work out.
No. So having a good relationship with a framer, a matter, and a framer was the smarter thing that I did. And I have never regretted one penny I ever spent on a good matting and framing.
Sure.
I have never regretted it. Other things that I loved about this, other than this unusual asymmetrical matting, was that as unified as it is as a whole. Is this person here? Where is
I'm right here.
Okay, so after the whole thing was done,
Yeah, it's one piece,
One piece.
and then I just cut it up.
okay, so that's what it seemed like to me. And what I loved about it was that, right, when you step back, it looks like a really unified, beautiful, professional, put together, excellent piece of artwork. And as it's divided up, it's like what I like to call, I learned this from the designers, the moments. There's moments of each little piece being a piece of artwork in itself.
Yes, definitely.
So each little thing is, a jewel. It's like a jewel box. Which necklace should I wear now? All of them. Okay, you can have all of them. You could wear the bracelet, the necklace, and the earrings, and it's all good. So bravo. I thought it was just spectacular. Yes, of course. Want to forget anything? This to me, I don't know where to stand. You can stand right next to him. Was an explosion of color and happiness. But the color is stunningly and beautifully balanced. The composition is absolutely beautiful. The detail is beautiful. Each of the colors is beautiful. The subject is beautiful. So what I wanted to say about subject matter is that very often a judge will be drawn to subject matter. And, being a little bit of a girly girl, I mean, who doesn't like a stunning bouquet? Of course I do. But one of the things that spoke to me right away was in the composition, you have the big, bodacious roses. You could almost smell them. And then all the little beautiful, I don't know, what are they, like hydrangea? I wasn't even sure what they were, but the rhythms were beautiful, and the pops of the little rosebuds, and more of these little pieces here. But just if you took away these roses, let's see if I can cover it. If you took away the roses, the shapes and the colors of these leaves were so beautiful. So when you're trying to arrange something as potentially complicated as a bouquet of flowers, the way that the architecture that supports the openness of those flowers are these rhythms, and the way that some are lined with the reds and browns, and the swirling of this blue up through. I was like, I want you. Everywhere. It's really, really beautiful. So congratulations. So the colors.
Thank you.
Things that I completely fell in love with in 2008 when the economy crashed and my business like totally crashed, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna starve to death. I said, I have this studio. It's a 1.5 car garage filled floor to ceiling, wall to wall, with all different kinds of paints and materials. And I realized all the years that I said I need some time to just work and think, well, I got that time. So I was making long, very, very thin sheets of the paint to recycle, and said, oh, this is such a nice idea. One day I'm going to use it. So during that time, I did a lot of abstracts that were about paint itself, and in my case, how paint shrinks when I peel it off a hydrophobic surface. It peels off in like very, very thin sheets. It looks like a piece of fabric. Oh, that's great. Well, as each different layer dries, the whole thing warps and shrinks and takes on a life of its own. So working with that kind of surface is so much fun. You're like a kid in kindergarten. I want glue, I want sparkles, I want glitter, I want popsicles, I want all of it. And to be able to play with it and pull it together is something that takes a lot of experience, a lot of direction from other people. For me personally, I took my pieces to different artists, different designers, and asked for their assistance, because to me, my favorite outfit would be an outfit with every color or no color, which I have on now. But this piece, when I stood back, I'm like, I wonder what the artist is saying here, because I see these buildings, like a domicile, and they're quite distinct, and then inside these buildings is so much activity. I was thinking, is this a house of is the family in here like really, really happy, or are they like really dysfunctional? And guess what? Maybe that's all of us. Maybe that's all of our families. We're sometimes dysfunctional and sometimes happy, and every now and then we get a memory in life where everything just works out fantastic. Oh my God, how did that ever happen? And you have these little jewels. So it was very fun it was very active.